Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I like to discuss the EU's rejection of Boris Johnson's nonsense Brexit ideas earlier this month, but discuss an offer that should actually satisfy our short-term problems with trade between Britain and Northern Ireland at least. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So this is going to be another Northern Ireland Protocol Day. Two videos, with this first one being a sensible way of managing the whole thing, albeit temporarily, that it will be important to bear in mind when I do the second one later today. So, as a result of Brexit, or more specifically, I suppose, leaving the customs union and single market, exporting foodstuffs to the EU is rather tricky. If anything contains meat, eggs or dairy, then it needs a health certificate signed by a vet. Some meat products are completely banned, unless frozen, like sausages, mince and so on. This is, of course, somewhat damaging for our own farming industry, and the reason why farmers are calling on the government to agree something more workable as a matter of urgency with the EU. But that's trade between Britain and the EU. But the same problems occur with trade between Britain and Northern Ireland, because our internal UK Brexit border means that goods need to be checked using basically the same systems. There were some grace periods agreed in order to let the UK government catch up before the politically sensitive issue of the full force of trade barriers. It's one thing to have trade barriers between one nation and another, but much more of a problem inside a country. And when we're talking about Northern Ireland, it's incredibly sensitive. So Boris Johnson, who manages both sides of this particular Brexit border, because the UK is on both sides of it, unilaterally changed the agreement earlier this year. He's now facing legal action from the EU and may face swifter retaliatory action if it's not resolved before too long. But the point is that trade between Britain and Northern Ireland isn't actually even facing quite the same barriers as between Britain and the EU directly. They're just more politically sensitive. But there will come a point where the barriers are raised. Johnson and Frost have attempted to persuade the EU to allow the grace periods to basically extend indefinitely. They then pursued the idea of an equivalence deal, like that which exists between the EU and New Zealand. And they keep doing this. They keep saying, well, you've got this sort of deal with this other country, why not us? The thing is, New Zealand's quite far away. It's like 2 oceans away. And there's quite a lot lower level of trade with the EU. It has nothing like the volume that would upset the balance. So you can let them get away with a few things. The same is not true of the UK. Besides, as keeps being pointed out, that wouldn't get rid of the need for checks anyway. If the problem is the checks between Britain and Northern Ireland, Boris Johnson keeps saying, David Frost keeps saying, oh, we should have unfettered access between Britain and Northern Ireland. If you want that, your idea doesn't work. It doesn't give that. If the problem is the checks, then you need a solution that gets rid of those checks. Rejoining the single market and customs union is the obvious one, but Brexiteers seem to have a problem with that, even though they were 100% in favour of it before the 2016 referendum. But the EU do have a suggestion that, in all honesty, I cannot understand the Brexiteers objecting to. See, the problem is that we have trade friction on the movement of foodstuffs, but we didn't when we were in the customs union and single market. So why not just align your food standards with ours for a bit longer, said the EU, and we can go back to sort of how it was. After all, Johnson has insisted that we will be maintaining those food standards for our producers anyway. The problem is that he also wants to lower standards for imported food, not food produced here, just imported here, most famously from the United States. Boris Johnson is staking everything on a US trade deal in order to justify all the Brexit damage. But the US will insist on much greater access into the British market for their lower quality agricultural products. Now, this would be a double benefit to American farmers. Not only would it allow them to sell products that are not currently allowed, But because British farmers would be obliged to maintain the higher standards, American farmers can even compensate for the extra cost of transporting their goods across a bloody ocean and still undercut British farmers in their own market. So no, Boris Johnson won't enter into an agreement that ties us to EU standards in a way that stops him getting his precious US trade deal. But the EU have a solution for that as well. See, they are offering a temporary agreement, nothing that's tied down forever, temporary, which the UK can opt out of whenever they want to. It's here, you can have it for as long as you want. And this benefits everyone. It benefits traders because we can remove those particular trade barriers pretty quickly. Yes, they would come back later, but it would give us more time to prepare. It would give those businesses time to prepare. It would give the government the time to set up the systems to actually reduce the delays by then. There would still be delays. Can't have checks without delays, but you could at least reduce the severity of them. It also benefits the government because they get to delay the acceptance of internal UK trade barriers for a bit longer, and they still get to implement the US trade deal without delay whenever they want. Whenever it's ready. Remember, it's not ready now. It's not even imminent. As soon as it comes along, Boris Johnson can say, right, I've got my trade deal now. We can't have this agreement with the EU. We're just going to drop it. And the EU will go, yeah, fine, no problem. We understood that you were going to drop it as soon as you wanted to. You know, as soon as the US government can be asked to agree a deal, it can end that day. So what is there possibly to object here? Other than, of course, blinkered Brexit thinking. And this is where diplomacy would have to come into it. So they'd need to word it in such a way as it would be palatable for Brexit supporters, or at least influential Brexit supporters, who won't understand the detail anyway. I saw a report where one diplomat said, you know, you'd avoid talking, for example, about alignment, as this is apparently a dirty word now. Now, we know that despite the antagonistic statements from Boris Johnson, David Frost and any other Tory Brexiteer who gets asked, UK and EU officials are actually working very closely and genuinely on a daily basis. There is a suggestion that a breakthrough on some aspects of the protocol may be possible later this month. I don't think on foods though. Now, it may well be that we are in one of those diplomatic situations which crops up now and then where there is an effective agreement already. The agreement has already been made behind the scenes, but the debate continues because the wording has to make it sound like each side won to their respective populations. After all, David Frost constantly complaining that his own negotiated Brexit deal is a complete sack of crap can only go on for so long before even Brexit supporters join the dots. Same with Boris Johnson, really. At some point, they're going to remember that it was his idea, more so he said, and that he said it was a fantastic deal for Britain. At some point, this has to end, or at least normalise. We can't actually just drop the protocol and still have divergent standards. Besides, if we drop the protocol, we can't get the US trade deal. So there will have to come a time when the government implements something workable. We also know that Boris Johnson loves short-term solutions to his political problems, not even seeming to care if it means greater problems down the road. So the idea of being offered a temporary solution by the EU, which he can pull out of whenever he likes, would surely appeal. But for now, those are my thoughts. There is another dimension to this, a different angle, later today. But until then, I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.